Hi, my name is Siena. I've kind of lived all over the U.S., but my parents live in Boulder, Colorado right now. I go to George Washington University in D.C., and I'm studying international affairs.
First of all, how have you been in general? Just to give like the viewers a little bit of
Yeah,
context.
I've been pretty good. Really busy. Since the last time we filmed the interview, which was right before we got off the ship. I lived in London the spring semester of last year, and then I was home in Colorado over the summer, and now I'm back in DC for my last year of school.
I interviewed people at the beginning and at the end of the voyage to see
Okay.
how they evolve. So it's
Yeah.
basically the same thing with this, right? So like you shaved your head a year ago, almost, right? A little bit less than that, but like it's almost there.
Close. It's
Yeah.
almost.
So yeah, and I asked you some questions. So
Okay.
now I'm going to show you your answers to those questions.
That's wild. Okay. I'm
But
scared.
why?
I don't know. I just haven't seen this like footage of me with a freshly shaved head. Like it was literally the day we were getting off the ship, I think.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with someone the day before Neptune Day, and she talked about how a bunch of her friends who were also female had shaved their heads and how much it changed their perspective on life, their relationships with themselves, like how they viewed how other people treated them much differently. And I thought it sounded like a really cool experience, but something that I was not going to do. And then, probably 5 minutes before I shaved my head, I thought about it and was like, if I ever want to have that same experience, now would be the time to do it. And also, the fact that I was so resistant to want to cut my hair made me feel like I probably should.
What do you think now that was your reason? Like, have you realized maybe that you had another reason or
Yeah. Um, I would say that my reasoning is still the same. Like for me, it was a very impulsive decision. So it's not like I had been like thinking about it beforehand and like now I've realized all of these like underlying reasons. I don't like that didn't happen for me because I didn't again like plan it out. Um, but it is nice to watch back because I talked about like the reason for doing it was kind of wanting to have that experience and that growth. And I feel like I have had that, which is really nice. I feel like it would suck to watch that back and be like, well, that I regret doing it now. Like I didn't learn anything.
right, right.
But I don't feel that way. Like I feel like my reason for doing it has been fulfilled almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I like again, the reason is kind of the same, but it's nice to look back at it like a year later, um, and like kind of remember the reasons that I did it.
yeah, fair. Okay. So the next question was, how do you feel right now?
I feel really happy about the decision. A few people have asked me if I regret it. I definitely don't regret it yet. We'll see what happens when it starts to grow out again. Um, I don't know if I love it per se, like in terms of I don't think my like physical appearance is better without hair than it was with hair. But I'm definitely really happy that I did it. Right now, I feel still happy with it. It's been really interesting. I've never had short hair before. And it's also growing back, kind of, you can't really tell, but it's growing back kind of curly, like especially in the back, which is something that I've never really had before. So that's been interesting. There are definitely times where I've struggled with it, where I like didn't love the way that my hair looked or the length that it was, which is never really an issue I've had before because I've always had really long, pretty straight hair. So it's always just kind of been what it is. Um, So yeah, like there was definitely moments that it was difficult, but like overall, I feel good about it. I feel happy about it. It's definitely a conversation starter.
Right.
Um, and it's been funny to like meet people who never knew me when I had long hair, and like they'll see a picture of it and they're like, "Oh my God, you had hair." And which is just so wild for me because I think sometimes like I still think I look like that. Anyways, uh
Yeah.
yeah, I also think I underestimated how much someone's hair changes their appearance. Because I was like, it's just hair. Like, how different am I really gonna look? But it's like a pretty drastic difference appearance wise. Um, but yeah, like I stand by what I said in that video. Like I don't regret it. Yeah. I also think it's interesting because watching the video back, I like don't dislike the way that I look totally bald, like looking at the video. Like I look, to be fair, we were on semester at sea, so like we were all, I would hope, pretty happy. But I just like look happy and like I'm not
Yeah.
like judging myself for not having hair, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So the it's good you say that because the next question is, do you feel beautiful?
Um, I would say so. I think being on the ship, surrounded by a lot of other people, especially women who have shaved their heads, has been a really supportive community. And so I'd say partially because of all of that support, I feel beautiful. We'll see what happens when I go out in public in a few hours from now. Um, but generally, I'd say yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to watch that. Especially, I hesitated so much at the beginning before I said yes.
Right.
And looking at that clip, I think I look beautiful. Like I look happy and healthy and good. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
um but I also get the hesitation. Like it's hard to feel beautiful all of the time,
Yeah.
especially when, like I was saying before, my hair has never looked like this before.
Yeah.
Never dealt with that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I don't know if it's like overstating it to say that it's a challenge, but a little bit. Um,
Right.
so
I mean, it's totally normal to like, if we struggle to feel beautiful with long hair, imagine when we're like literally challenging society's beauty standards, you know?
yeah,
So it's
definitely.
normal. It's normal.
So
That's why I feel like it's such a unique experience to do it at semester at sea because at least if you're a part of that, you know, like
yeah,
it makes you think like, maybe it's not such a big deal to shave your head, you know?
yeah.
But yeah. So the next question was, are you scared of anything going forward?
I'd say I'm scared for when my hair starts to grow back out again because I've never had short hair ever. And so I have no idea what it's going to look like at all of the different lengths. So I think just kind of like not knowing what to expect in terms of like my appearance because I think, I mean, I kind of had an idea of what I would look like with no hair because that's kind of something you can imagine, but I have no idea what it's going to look like when it grows back out again. Yeah, it's weird. I predicted it. I think that has been the hardest part. Like, I think when I was like freshly shaved, whenever I had really short hair still, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like it almost was obvious to the public that it was like a choice. Like I like felt cool in certain ways. I was like, oh, I'm a badass. Like, yeah, I shaved my head, like whatever. And I felt good about it. Um, I think also partially because I expected it to look so bad. I was pleasantly surprised almost when it didn't. Um, but then growing it out definitely was tough. I feel like especially the like 4 or 5 month mark. In the moment, I don't know that I necessarily hated it that much because I just would wake up every day and like that's my hair. Like I didn't really care that much. But like looking back at photos from spring of last semester when I was like traveling around Europe, it looked bad. Like it just did. And again, it's hair. It doesn't matter that much. But I think that like awkward stage before, like, yeah, like I said, like the 4 or 5 month mark, it's not shaved anymore. It's kind of like the someone called it something once. Someone called it like the fuzzy duckling phase or something. It's just like fuzzy, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And and I think that part of the experience of shaving is that, like
Yeah.
not just being bald and letting go of your hair, which is big stuff, but it's also feeling, let's say, feeling ugly, right? Let's say feeling
Hmm.
like you don't have control. Like, for example, yesterday, I felt this and I quickly realized, but when I was shaving, right? Like I wanted
Hmm.
a what's it called? A fade, right? Like I
Hmm.
wanted this short and then go to longer, longer, longer. So it looks like good or whatever. And then my friend messed up when he was shaving. And then I thought I could fix it and I messed it up even more. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just shave the whole thing, right? But in that moment I realized why do I even care? Like why did it kind of bother me if I've already been bald, if right? Like so I think that's something that I've taken away from this experience too, is that like I don't think I longer care as much if I were to fuck up my hair. It doesn't make sense, like, because I've already
Yeah,
been through being bald.
it does.
So
I think another thing that happened that I didn't expect, and I'm trying
mm-hmm,
to think of how to explain this so it makes sense, because I've only ever thought about this to myself. I've never like explained it to anyone. I feel like before there were certain like outfits, for example, that I felt like I couldn't wear because either they were like too cool or too
yeah,
feminine, or
yeah,
I was showing off too much skin, or like
mm-hmm,
not enough skin, or like whatever. Like I just felt like I couldn't wear them. And then after shaving my head, I think part of it was I was putting a little bit more attention into what I was wearing. One, to compensate for not having hair, and two, because frankly, I wasn't in the US and people dress more nicely outside of the US than they do in the US.
mm-hmm.
But I was wearing these outfits that I wouldn't have had the confidence to wear before.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it was interesting. And I also feel like part of it was attached to this, like, I'm like really trying to think of how to explain this. Like this idea of like femininity. Like
yeah,
when I had long hair and I looked like arguably pretty feminine, I was like,
mm-hmm,
oh, I'm gonna be judged for wearing this outfit,
mm-hmm,
or I'm gonna get like bad attention. I don't know. Like there was just certain things that I felt like I couldn't wear or couldn't pull off or whatever. And then after shaving my head, I didn't really feel that way anymore. And I still to this day don't like, if I don't like an outfit, I don't like it, but I don't feel like there's anything I can think of that I want to wear now that is like too feminine or too masculine or like calling too much attention to myself. Like I don't really have that anymore.
yeah. All right, ready for the next question?
Yes. I absolutely would recommend this experience to other women. Um, it's only been a few days, but I think I already view myself, um, both as a person and my physical appearance, very differently. Um, and it's been really empowering to do something for myself and not for like physical appearance in terms of society, like what society expects my physical appearance to look like. Um, yeah, which has been really cool. And it's been such a short amount of time. So yeah, I mean, I stand by what I said. I absolutely would recommend this to other women. I think it's been such a cool experience, and I really have learned so much. And I've grown so much, and I don't know, like I feel like it's just opened up my perspective a lot. And
Yep.
I do think like it is a scary thing. And so I think something that I didn't say in my previous answer, which I would probably say now, is I don't necessarily know that it is for absolutely everybody.
Mm-hmm,
Because I think I don't want to say underestimated how challenging it would be, but I'm not by my nature like a particularly emotional person.
mm,
I mean, everyone's emotional, but like I don't know, like I try to let things like roll off my back and not bother me, but it still has been a challenging experience. And so like for that reason, I would say like it, people shouldn't underestimate that it is difficult, and it's not difficult for like a day. Like it continues to be difficult as like your hair grows, especially the longer your hair was before you shaved it, the longer it's going to take to like get back to that place if that's what you want. um no, but I absolutely would recommend it to people. It's a really cool experience. I don't know, I can literally can't think of a way you could replicate the experience by like doing anything else. um so yeah, I would definitely.
yeah. It's definitely not for everyone, but I definitely think that it would. I feel like anyone can take something away from it. You know, like even men, that's something I realized while we were on the ship. I mean, it's not the same thing, obviously,
Yeah.
but there was a guy with long hair, actually multiple, but
Seth.
yeah, Seth, and this I forgot his name, but he had really long hair, like here kind of thing.
Hmm.
And I think like if you've grown up like that, you know, it also has some bearing because I mean it's not
Definitely.
the same thing with like gender norms, but it's if you've grown up shaping your identity around your hair, I think it will definitely affect how you see the world from now on.
100%.
So going along with that, I think I
Hmm.
asked you another question. Yes. So I asked you, do you feel it's necessary for women to shave in order to let go of beauty standards?
I don't think that a woman has to shave her head to release herself from beauty standards. I think every woman's experience is different, and every woman's level of comfort with themselves and like drastic changes to their appearance is different. But I definitely think it is a really good way to release yourself from like society's beauty standards. So I don't think it's a requirement, but I definitely think that um, it's an experience that can help you do that.
All right.
Well, I'm just giving myself a pat. That was a great answer, if I say so myself. I think I worded it much better and the first time I answered the question than when I just tried to answer it just no, but I agree. Like again, I don't think it's for everybody, this experience. Like not everyone handles different challenges in the same ways, or I guess everyone handles the same challenge in different ways. So but I do think it is an immediate and jarring way to release yourself from beauty standards and kind of forces you into a place of discomfort, which I think is a really, really valuable thing. So yeah, I think it's a good way to do that for sure.
The next question was, what went through your head while you were shaving your head?
I think while my head was being shaved, I think there was not a thought in my head, to be honest with you. A few of my friends took turns shaving my head, and so I was kind of just wondering, because I didn't want to turn around, so I was just kind of wondering who was shaving my head at that point. But I think I was kind of trying really hard not to think about anything else. Like I was kind of just very in the moment.
I think it's really funny because when you said that was the next question was, what did I think about when my head was being shaved? I was thinking to myself, damn, I'm really interested to see this answer because I think I just blacked out. Like I have no idea what I was thinking about. And now evidently the answer is the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fair.
nothing. Like I was just like sitting there like in shock. And now I've seen a video of it and you can see in the video, I literally say, who's shaving my head right now?
Yeah. Well, I have some footage if you wanted to see.
I do, because the only video I've seen is like a very short clip and it's very like it's moving a lot. So you can't really see.
Okay. I also moved a lot, but you can see the first time, you know, like that
Okay.
went through. Just be ready for shouting because, bro, I was so excited that day.
I think it's funny too to see. So this is just like a side note
Yeah, go ahead.
unrelated from the interview, but I think it's so funny that Liz decided to shave her head with me because personality wise, I absolutely never thought that's something that she would do. And I didn't think I would do it either, but I was like kind of contemplating it. And she walked up to me and was like, should we shave our heads together? And then part of me also was like, oh, well, if there's a chance she's going to do it, I feel like obligated. Like, I don't want her not to do it because I'm not going to do it. And there was like also, I think, a sense of comfort and like neither of us thought we were going to. So it was like scary for both of us. And then also funny to see our different reactions. Like I was trying so hard not to cry and she just started crying immediately. I cried afterwards a lot, but I like in the moment was like surrounded by other people and I don't like crying in front of people. So I was like, I can't start crying right now.
Think, wow, like now that I watched it with you, wow, it brings me back to that day. Like that day was just so filled with passion.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and I'm grateful to be part of it. You know,
Me
like
too.
who would have said? No, who would have thought that I would? Well, not just me, but all of us, that that we would have a group of bold people to relate to. It's just crazy. That first time that I shaved, I posted a picture, and this guy was like, "Is this for style or are you ill?" And I was like, I guess good for asking and not assuming, but still,
Yeah.
wow. I don't, yeah.
I know.
Anyways,
The reactions were funny. There also was like someone at the time whose opinion of myself I like held way too importantly. Now I could give less of a fuck. But in like the moment, I like didn't I didn't tell anyone I was gonna shave it. So I just shaved my head. And it was so nice because I didn't even think about it. Like I didn't think about how that person was gonna react, like if they were
yeah,
gonna care. And then they like saw me and I was like, oh, it was like nice. I was like, I clearly didn't do this for anyone else. Like I couldn't be bothered. So it was
yeah.
kind
There is one more thing,
of okay.
which is not a question, but it's a message to your future self, meaning you right now. Yeah.
I
Are you
don't
ready?
remember filming that.
I would probably tell myself that I know that I'm gonna have days when I don't like what I look like or I feel insecure about it. And I would tell myself probably not to worry so much about it because it's just hair and nobody else cares as much as I do. So it's not worth ruining a day or even an hour over worrying about it.
Young Siena with the wise words.
Nice. That was good advice.
Yeah. Is there anything you would like to tell past Siena or future Siena?
God, I don't know. I guess future me, if I'm like insecure or like anxious about things in the future, which inevitably I will be, we're all human. You fucking shaved your head. So like what else can't you? Like there's nothing you can't do. Like you're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, great advice.
Thank you.
Do you have any other realizations, any thoughts that have come up in this year that you would like to share? Obviously, this is going to be going on YouTube with your permission.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I'm sure the people who are going to shave, sorry, who are going to watch the video are either people who've already shaved or people who would like to shave, but maybe they're too scared. You would like to tell any of those people something, what would it be?
Yeah. I think that obviously like I knew that it was going to be a big deal and like something that like would change my life in certain ways. But I think I downplayed it. Like I was like, oh, it's just hair, like it's not that big of a deal. Which again, it is just hair, it's not that big of a deal. But it has had like way more of a positive impact on me than I ever expected that it would. So when I say it's a bigger deal than I thought it was, I mean that in a good way. Like I've learned more than I thought I would, and I've grown more as a person than I expected to, which has been really cool. Because I think it would be disappointing if you like shaved your head and like made that whole decision and then nothing really came of it. But I don't think that's been the case at all. I think every day you like learn something new or realize something new, and yeah, it's been a really interesting, cool experience that I haven't regretted for a minute. Like, even in the moments when I'm like really feeling down about like how it looks or how my appearance is or whatever, I've never been like, oh, well, I wish I didn't do it. And it's also been so cool to experience it with all these other beautiful women from SAS who also are going through the same thing, and like sharing our updates and hearing from other people. And it's uplifting, and it's cool, and it's brought a lot of us together. So it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I just have one last question that came up like right now. What would you say to someone who wants to shave who does not have that support system, right? Like who would be alone? I mean, if you can say something, right? Because like,
Yeah,
it's not the same thing, but yeah.
I think there's definitely like social media is valuable in that you can, even if you're not like physically speaking to another person, there's now so many videos and like pictures online of other beautiful women who have shaved their heads and like their journey throughout it. And then this might seem like kind of a weird one, but I feel like if you are going through it by yourself and like don't necessarily have someone else to talk to, journaling about it or talking to somebody about it, I feel like so much of the like growth that I've had from this experience, and so much of what has like comforted me when I'm feeling kind of down or like not so great about it, is just like reflecting on it and like thinking about it in a positive light. And even I like literally cried when I watched Garrett's video. I cried for a number of reasons, but specifically the clip of like me shaving my head. I'd never seen that before. And like I looked so, I feel like, free and happy in that moment. And so I think journaling, if you don't have like a community of people who did it at the same time as you, like to be able to look back on the reasons why you did it and like what you've learned and how far you've come, I feel like could be really helpful and like comforting, make it a little bit less scary.
Yeah, great advice. I also journal, and wow, it's crazy because I started journaling on semester at sea, and I would not be where I'm at today without that ability to journal. Like just laying out your thoughts, and yeah, it's like externalizing your thoughts, but not for anyone else, just for you, right? To
Like the version of yourself you portray to other people, or the version of yourself you like imagine in your head. You're like,
yeah,
actually is not true.
yeah, it's powerful, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing it, and I'm glad it's helped you, and
Yeah,
I
thank you. I'm
truly,
so glad you're making this project. I'm so excited to
yes,
see it.
me too.